Hey, it's Dad. This is for you. I don't think you can hear the fridge behind me. Oh, let me just start off with I do not like filming myself. That is, as you know, not a thing I tend to do. So, forgive me for how irritated I seem. It has nothing to do with this. It's my own thing. This is also a way of learning to get better about that. So, a thing for me to work on. But today it was gonna be it's a it's a humdinger. We're gonna talk about planning. I know, got a thing coming up after the weekend. Um, Briefly mentioned planning, but I figured I'd go over in like a brief way how we do that, how I do that, and right off the bat, forgive me, but there's gonna be a lot of military terminology in here because in the army we do shit the right way. So, um, just getting into it, planning. When I talk to you about planning, you've got two kinds of planning, right? You've got your tactical and then you've got your strategic. So, let me explain the difference. Tactical planning is on the ground. You are, oh my god, there's going to be so much army in this. Just forgive me in advance. You're in the fight, right? That is what is happening in the moment, what you need to do to get to the next day. Strategic is looking at the bigger map, right? Being able to plan out ahead things that aren't immediately available. So, when we're talking about schedule for the event, what that looks like is your necessaries or your needs, right? Like you're going to need to get to school. That's going to be a thing. You're going to need to eat. Like the stuff that is going to happen. Then you have your wants, things you would like to do, things that you would like to have happen. And then you're going to have incidentals or ideals. Like it would be great if I got to do this thing at some point. So you start with your needs, right? The things that you know are going to happen. Figure out, have a plan in place for how those are going to work. Do you need a ride? Do you have a way? Catching the bus, setting an alarm. What days do you have to go in? What days you don't? That is the foundation of what you're going to plan. Have contingencies, if you're getting a ride, maybe their car breaks down. What's the plan just in case that happens? It doesn't have to be crazy stuff. You don't plan on like your house getting hit by a meteor, but things that could jam up what you need to do. Have a plan in place, have a general structure for what those days are going to look like. Like for me, I know I have classes at Penn State. I know what day those classes are happening. I can look at the next week and know that by a certain time I need to be at class. And then I also know that like I need to make sure the kids get on the bus. I need to make sure that a kid is dropped off at daycare. So I build my schedule around those foundations, and then I have gaps of time in between. After class, but before the next class, I've got a window of time. Then I can do my wants. Those are things that I'd like to do. I should probably eat something. Or maybe I want to catch up on the news or watch YouTube or whatever. Go to Costco. I fit my things around the needs, right? And then there's the ideals, which is, I want to do nothing for an hour and just kind of chill and watch the next episode of Severance or whatever. Then you fit that in once the other more important things are taken care of. It's really just that simple each day. What needs to happen, what's going to happen, what windows of time do you have free? Have a plan in place, know what it's going to look like, be able to visualize your day, right? Like at this certain time, I'm going to be getting on a bus or someone's going to be picking me up to take me wherever it is that I need to go for whatever. And then at a certain time, be able to know the time by like 4:15 I'll be back, and then I'll be able to take care of this thing that probably needs done, like running laundry because you need it for the next day, you're out of outfits. Visualize that day. Strategically, this is the broader picture, right? This is the other, it's a bifurcated system, tactical, strategic. There's two. The other wing of this is the bigger plan, which is being able to manage that next week given, like, the change in the routine. That would be the strategic outlook. What do you want to have achieved over that span of time? You want your school stuff to be taken care of and be prepared for a test that's probably happening within the window. You want to make sure that you've got food for all of those days, right? It's an umbrella that's going to cover all of the smaller elements. When you think about it strategically, you're looking at those, maintaining those day-to-day systems, right? So if food is running low, or it's going to run low because you're eating, maybe have an idea what you might want to eat each day. I plan my dinners out like the weekend before the week. But then, at a certain point, you're going to need to order a food delivery, or you're going to need to have an idea of what you want to replace. So building these on top of each other gives us a way to plan competently moving out into the future. And you can do it in blocks of time. I typically do like 1 and 5 year plans when I'm thinking strategically. That's because I'm older and the things that I'm doing operate on that time frame. I've got 2 more years of school for my bachelor's degree, right? I've got 3 years of law school after that. So that right there is a 5-block window of time. And I know where I want to end up with, which is with a Juris Doctorate and being able to practice, like pass the bar, that kind of thing. 10-year plan, having a house, the kids are all getting older. All of you guys would be at least teenagers at that point. What do I want my life to look like right then? I don't need to know every detail. I don't need to know what car I'm driving, but I want to have a general idea of where I'm trying to land. So there's the 10-year, general, very vague sort of general idea. I want to be practicing law, have completed my degrees, be in a stable relationship with a combined household, own my home, that kind of stuff. Like broad strokes. 5-year plan is part of that process, the end of getting the degrees and requirements. Break it down into like the next year. What is the next year going to look like based on that bigger plan? I know I have to pick classes for next semester. I need to know that I have to have a routine in place. That way I can go to those classes. I know generally what kind of money I'll be working with month to month. Break that down into the next half year. As we break it down, the details can get more specific, because the farther out you go, the more things change, the less you can predict, right? Who knows what the world's going to look like in 10 years? I don't know what it's going to look like in 1 year. So we're just trying to get a more and more granular vision until we can say, like, tomorrow, what does tomorrow look like? You know what your tomorrow looks like, right? You're familiar. You have a routine. You know what the next week is probably going to look like or could look like. And then you plan out what that could. Planning, where is it? Phone? Dude, this is, I'm going to be vulnerable here. I'm a dumbass, because it wasn't like a year or two ago until I was using the calendar in my phone. Grandma told me about that. I have the thing with me everywhere. It's automatic. It can remind me when I want to do stuff. I can plan out indefinitely. Why would I not use that when I carry the thing with me everywhere? I always have it on me. Because I'm dumb. Because I'm dumb. I hadn't thought to utilize the tool that way. But scheduling that routine, I have like 10 different calendars in my phone that cover different kids, like my school stuff, things for the house. It all overlaps, different colors. That way, when I do start the day, I can look, see what I need to do, what the important things are. When I look at the week, I can see, oh yeah, there's that, there's like Buckethead's doing a concert in a couple weeks. I can see that. If you're not doing it, like, it is one of those things where I resisted it for so long because it sounded simple and like, oh yeah, it's got an app for that. Okay. And then when I actually started using it, it was so powerful because it affected so much. And it was just one of those things that it's like when you eat popcorn a certain way and then you see, or no, like cereal boxes. You eat cereal a certain way and then you realize that the boxes were designed that you could like roll the top and close them more neatly, or like You never realize that like those ketchup cups actually spread out to make dipping easier. It like hits you and it's like, oh, that was that's why it was the way it was. It's that same it's that same sort of feeling. It Having a routine helps order your thought process, and it takes a lot of the weight off of you to remember what you need to do. You just need to be able to check. And that makes things so much easier, because if you know you're putting everything into your phone, then you know all you have to do is check your phone and follow what it's telling you. It's your instructions, but it's all organized. And it is just so profound a change, and it makes it so much easier that like one thing to take away is just do that. Set it up so it's usable. Have it set, reminders, so it's like a half hour from now you got to take this test on Canvas or whatever for a class of yours. Just put it in there. Keep your alarm on. And then you don't have to worry about whether or not you're remembering things. It reduces so much stress, and it's so goddamn easy. So that, like, just when you learn the thing, put it in your phone. It sounds so dumb and so easy, but it is. And that's like what makes me so angry that I wasn't doing it earlier. I had, it simplifies the process. So when I had mentioned, figuring out what the plan is, think about what those days are going to look like. You should know which days they are. If you don't know exactly which days, get an idea of the range, right? Because we can work with that. Figure out what needs to be done on which days, and then we figure out ways to make sure that happens. And then, if you have chunks of free time, if you've got evenings and you want to just like dick around and not do anything, you can do that, because everything else is taken care of. And we've got a plan in place. We've got backup plans in case you need one. Those aren't as important as like the actual plan, but they're still good, because then they reduce uncertainty. And then you got nothing else to worry about. Like, you're good. You want to go do a thing, find a way to make that happen. It's really just that easy. So get back to me with that. Let me know. What do you need from me? What is it that you'd like to do? Is there something? Is there nothing? You just want me on standby and you got everything covered? Cool. Just let me know. I'm a resource for that. My schedule here is always crazy, but pretty regular. It's just busy. But, it'd be nice. Let me know. So that's planning. I want to get into like more specifics. I want to do like buying a car, figure that kind of stuff out, but I am avoidant to sit in front of the computer and talk. I know that is I have a reminder on my phone Tuesdays and Thursdays to record different videos. But I forgot to turn on the alarm for it. So it didn't remind me the last week and a half. So I'm working on that. This is just me. I exist in the void now. So I'm here if you need me. And if you don't, then that's great too. But at least I'm not doing the one. The sorceress of the woods. I'm not going to use names on here ever. So, but you know her. We went through the process of talking, and a lot of this is going to be me talking about myself more than I would like, because that's not a thing I like to do. But there are some interesting things I want to share with you, and really just because we don't get to see each other all that often, you don't get all of the little stories in the background that helps you know who I am, because that's important. Like, growing up, my dad was around, but he and I have gone decades without talking. Like, I know who he is, but I don't know like who he is. So I don't want it to be like that. I want to, when you've got time, or if you care, and if you don't, that's your choice, but you be able to get more of me. That way you don't have the same feeling where I do, where, and she pointed out, a lot of the values that I hold to be important I got from things like Star Trek, because I didn't get a whole lot of that directly from my dad. Like, we were in the same room, but we never connected that way. It was, there was a separation there. And that's something that I actively try to avoid. That's a problem I try to avoid with you and the other kids. Um, Try to do things together and connect on those things. So that's future stuff. Who cares right now? I'm just doing this. So this was planning. Broad crap. Figure it out. Use your calendar. Let me know. There you go. I want to end each video with a thing unrelated to all the rest of the crap I talk about. So today it's Noita. Noita. That game is obsessive. It's so simple and so complicated, and I'm bad at it. And I've been bad at it a lot. And I'm like deliberately not playing it right now because it keeps sucking up all my time. Because it's a roguelite permadeath that has like this crazy endless world that is just brutal. It is so brutal. It's so rough. And each time you play it, you're like, oh shit, I got the thing I want. Now I can do this. And then you die and you're like, all the way back to the beginning. Oh. And it just sucks up hours of your time. It's so bad. But it's pretty too. Lots of nice colors. I think like a solo dev, maybe. I don't know. It is weird, but great. Weird in a great way, Like Breath of the Wild when, or Tears of the Kingdom when you're still figuring out all the things you can do. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So check it out. You'd probably need a Steam Deck to play it, and then the Switch is coming out, so who knows if that'll be a thing. But it's something to watch. It might be out on a platform that you're doing, and if not, just know that it haunts my dreams. It haunts my dreams, and it has become such a problem that I have to stop doing it because it's taking up too much of my free time. So, this was planning. You got this. You're good, man. Just keep trying to improve a little bit each day. And we'll figure all this out. Then life will be good. All right. Love ya.